there, welcome to my channel. I'm Holly, and this channel is all about my exploration of the world of graphic novels, sci-fi, and fantasy. Alright, I've now read 6 graphic novels, and a very obvious pattern has emerged. So I've got one question. Does something horrifically tragic have to happen to someone and that sets them on the path to becoming a superhero? More specifically, does something god-awful have to happen to one or both parents? And I'm not talking about parents peacefully passing away in their sleep of old age. No, it's got to be something very violent or brutal that robs them of their lives. And this is held true for everything I've read, aside from Wonder Woman. But anyway, that is just an observation. So for this video, I will be discussing The Flash Year 1 by Joshua Williamson. Now, I didn't start out with Year 1. I told my husband that I wanted to read something about The Flash, and I trusted him, but he did a very poor job at first. He actually recommended DC Universe Rebirth, The Flash. And, well, I got 20 pages in, and I closed it. You have to know quite a bit about The Flash to be able to enjoy that particular story. I actually felt that I had been dropped in the middle of a foreign country where I didn't know the language, the customs, and I didn't have a map. All of a sudden, there are all these characters, and I just couldn't put it together. We've got Wally West, Teen Titans, some guy named Bart who says, I should be Kid Flash, or I'm Kid Flash. And I thought, okay, there's a Kid Flash, so is there a sidekick to the Flash? Then I see that there is Iris West Allen, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, Barry Allen is married? I don't know any of this. And also it was talking about they're having this huge celebration in Central City because the Flash is back. And I'm thinking, the Flash was gone? Okay. And that there is a city frozen in time. Okay. And how the heck does Hal Leonard, oh my gosh, here we go again. Okay, guys, I'm not even going to edit that out. Every time I want to say Hal Jordan, I say Hal Leonard. I don't know if I've told you this about myself. I'm a piano teacher, and Hal Leonard is this huge publishing company of tons of piano music. So anytime I think about Hal Jordan, I think about Hal Leonard. So sorry. Okay, so apparently Hal Jordan and Barry Allen are like good buddies, and so I already know I'm into a story where you've got to know a lot of stuff. On one hand, I'm trying to get together a family tree. I'm trying to cobble together every single character. And then on the other, I'm going, okay, he's gone. How did he even become the Flash? I don't get this. So I went back to my husband and I said, this is not happening. Please find me something. You know, I got to take baby steps here. I need to have something that starts at the beginning. So he then recommended, hey, how about The Flash Year 1? And I'm going, thank God, Year 1. That sounds brilliant. That actually sounds like something that starts from the beginning. And it did. And it was the perfect one for me to set out on, to learn about the Flash. So my recommendation for those of you who may never have read anything about the Flash, or you're new to graphic novels, this is a good one to start with. Alright, so what I plan to do is talk about Barry Allen's backstory, because you know I love a good backstory. It gives me all this information, and then I'm able to move on and read some of this other stuff. And then I'm going to give a brief synopsis, as brief as Holly is able to give, and afterwards I'm going to talk about how this graphic novel made me cry. Shock to me. I start crying. Don't worry, I don't cry in front of other people, and I'm certainly not going to cry on film, but I would like to share what this graphic novel did to me. And then I need to get in a little bit about the nemesis of this particular story. All right, so we start out with Barry Allen as a kid, and he is absolutely passionate about comics and superheroes, and he shares this love with his mother. And I have to say, when I read that part, I felt a twinge of envy, because that's the whole reason that I have started reading graphic novels and started this channel. It's because I would want to build a connection, another connection with my husband and son. So anyway, it seems that he is a very good kid. He is very optimistic and has a lot of hope and looks forward to the future. And these are qualities that his mother really admires in him. And she says to him, whatever happens, don't give up hope. Always hang on to your hope. And I thought, great. This is foreshadowing what horrible thing is about to happen to his mother, because you know something is. But anyway, another very good quality about Barry is, even as a young kid, he has like this inborn natural instinct to be protective of those who can't defend themselves. And you see this occurring at school when he takes up for kids who are being bullied. And the thing is, he never throws a punch. So yeah, he comes home a time or two with a black eye and some bruises, but it's really important to him that he stick up for them, because this is exactly what his superheroes would do, and he wants to be like them. So yeah, the bad thing happens. His mother is unalived, and his father is charged with the crime, found guilty, and now he is rotting away in prison. So this is actually causes Barry to begin studying forensics, and eventually he becomes a CSI. And you know, his primary motivation is to be able to find the evidence that would exonerate his father. Now, being a CSI really takes a toll on Barry. I think seeing just human evil day after day, all of these crime scenes that he's investigating, he is really beginning to lose some of that optimism, and he doesn't have a whole lot of hope for the future. In fact, he's thinking to himself, you know, I'm not even worried about dating right now, because why? What's the point? So I think a lot of his time is spent working, and he's not super involved in anything beyond work. So one dark and stormy night, Barry is working in his lab when a bolt of lightning crashes through the window and strikes Barry. Also, it causes all of the chemicals in his lab to get on him. He is completely doused from head to toe. And so this is quite a serious accident. He's in a coma for months, and luckily he does wake from it, and as soon as he does, he's feeling a little strange, as we would, I think, when you're waking up from a coma, but this is a little bit different. He discovers that he has this incredible speed beyond any kind of imagination, beyond anything a human could possibly achieve. And so I think that was probably like, oh my gosh, what is happening to me? So the scientist in Barry wants to figure this out. So he begins investigating himself, and he's trying to figure out what's going on that allows him to have this incredible speed. But the human, the normal, everyday boy in him is thinking, let's see what this can do. And so, of course, he's outside. He is pushing himself to the limit. He's clocking in speeds of 100 miles per hour at first, and then 200 miles per hour. And he is having a blast. And in fact, this becomes his escape, because I can see that he's so unhappy in his day-to-day life that just getting out and going full speed for him, it is quite a lovely escape and being able to leave behind his worries. So I'm reading and I turn the page and all of a sudden I'm looking at Central City where all of this takes place, and I can see that it is dark, chaotic. There is a guard or an army of some type in the streets, and I'm going, oh my gosh, did he just flash forward into the future? Is Barry Allen a time traveler? And I'm thinking, boy, this is cool. And it turns out it's true. He did travel into the future, and then crazily enough, he runs into himself. He runs into Future Barry, and it appears Future Barry is probably about 30 years older. And you know, when you're reading something like this, I couldn't help but just imagine, as probably a lot of you have, what would it be like to meet my future self? You know, you think, as you're progressing in life, you look back and think, gosh, if only I had known that, I wouldn't have made that decision. So yeah, I'm thinking, boy, if I could have met future Holly, I wonder what, you know, my path in life would have been. Because obviously it probably would have changed a little bit if I could have found out a little bit of information. Now, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I can tell you this. I certainly would have majored in something wildly different in college. And in fact, I think there's a very strong chance that I might not have even attended college. Anyway, so Future Barry, and that's the other thing. Every time I was looking at Future Barry, I kept having to remind myself, this is not his father. This is not his father. This is himself, just years later. But anyway, Future Barry says, I am so glad you're here. I got a lot to tell you. But the most important thing that he had to impart was our lives run on a loop that cannot be broken. So whatever we do, we cannot introduce a time paradox or we will destroy reality. So here's present Barry freaking out because, oh my gosh, he's in the future. He has met himself. And now he's beginning to find out that he's going to have to do something pretty important to, I guess, save Central City, save the future, save humanity. But I'm sorry. I've got to get myself together. Future Barry. Anyway, he points out this tower and he says, look, that's called the shell. And this is home to the turtle. Now, he wants to slow down time. In fact, his ultimate goal is to put a halt to the multiverse, and we've got to stop him. Right now, he is using the people of Central City. He's using their life force. That's what's keeping him going and keeping this shell going. What he needs to do is to create a connection between the present and the future. And funnily enough, he wants to slow things down, but in order to do it, he needs speed, and a lot of it. And unfortunately, every citizen in Central City is not going to be enough speed to power what he needs to do. So obviously, he needs both Barrys. He needs future Barry speed and present Barry speed. So anyway, as he's explaining all of this to present Barry, the Turtle Guard, that's the army that I was seeing in the streets, well, they descend upon them. Obviously, they want both of them to take to the turtle. Now, they manage to fend them off long enough to get present Barry onto a cosmic treadmill. That sounds fun. A cosmic... Sorry. Crosby's still smashing young. So, a cosmic treadmill. And hopefully they calculated everything right to get present Barry back into his actual timeline, and they do. And when Barry arrives back in the present, he's done. He says, thank God I'm back. No more running for me. And, you know, you're really introduced to a lot of his very normal and understandable feelings. He's feeling fear. He doesn't want to face that future. And he also, you can see he lacks a lot of confidence because he's trying to figure out, how the heck did I go from this to turning into that? How do I even get there? How do I become future Barry? He doesn't believe that he can think of any way to stop the turtle. So for him, the best thing he can do is just ignore that it ever happened and just continue living his life as he was. But of course, time waits for no one. We are hurtling into the future, and let me think of every other cliche that I can possibly think of dealing with time. But anyway, yeah, fate, the future, and the turtle wind up, you know, in Barry's timeline. The turtle is robbing a bank, and Barry's hit with a decision right there that there's nothing else he can do. He's got to make a choice. And so he decides, okay, I'm just going to risk. I don't know if I'm doing the right thing, but I've got to try to stop him. So for the very first time, he throws a punch. And, you know, fight, fight, fight. Stuff happens. But the police are able to detain and arrest the turtle. And they're hauling him off in handcuffs. He's going to go to prison. And Barry is elated, and he's thinking, oh my gosh, did I do it? Did I save the future? And that's what he goes with. And then he begins just living life. He's having a lot of fun with his speed. He is speeding around town, helping people, and he starts to leave a mark, you know, wherever it was that he was helping out. He leaves a lightning bolt. And, you know, the people of Central City feel like somebody is looking after them. They're beginning to feel a little safer. But the thing with Barry is he realizes, oh my gosh, I've got all of this speed. Now I've got so much time on my hands because I can get things done so quickly. So he's getting a lot of his work done. He now has time and the will to hang out with his buddies. And he has started dating Iris West, the reporter. And for him, everything is good in the world. Everything is just perfect. So, you know, something terrible has to happen, of course. And the turtle escapes prison, raises an army, and begins their march on Central City to take it over. So, yeah, now Barry understands that it's a lot more serious. It's going to take a little more than a punch and putting Turtle in prison. And so, you know, the epic battle now has to begin. So, once again, fight, 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 stuff. And Barry figures it out. And it's his intelligence. This is what he figures out. And I think his plan is both ingenious and insane. So what he wants to do is he wants to speed up space and time just enough to carry everyone with him into the future by 2 or 3 seconds and leave the turtle and his powers in the past. And it works. He is able to get everybody just a couple of seconds into the future. But you know, I was thinking, if you think about it, 2 or 3 seconds is a long time. 2 or 3 seconds is you being in a car accident or avoiding a car accident. It's winning the Super Bowl. It's maybe meeting the love of your life or just missing the love of your life. So I know that everybody in Central City was impacted just by these 2 or 3 seconds. And I thought that would be so much fun to be able to read a story where it maybe just took a few of the citizens and to see what actually happens, what would have happened, you know, if those 2 or 3 seconds hadn't occurred, and then what actually happens. It's a very interesting thing, really, to think about time. And anyway, I won't get into all of that, but I enjoyed this story. So for the time being, Central City is safe. The future is going to happen. Good or bad, at least it's there, you know, to be experienced. All right, so what I'd like to do now is talk about why I cried. I'm sorry, I'm just still stunned. Stunned that all of these graphic novels actually make me feel things and think about things. But when it was talking about Barry using his running as an escape, well, it made me think about when I was younger, learning how to ride horses. Now, at first I was anxious about even mounting a horse, and there was no way I was going to let that horse, go beyond a nice, gentle walking speed. But, time passes, I gain some experience and some confidence. And so, of course, I began to take it to a trot, a canter, and then a gallop. But the memory I had, and it was just a split second, was of the very first time that I was in an open field with my horse and allowing it to go at a full-on gallop, and the absolute exhilaration I felt. And I felt so alive and so free, and my mind was blank. I wasn't thinking anything, I was just feeling. I was feeling just the joy of being alive and being completely present in the moment. And it was just such an experience. Just those few seconds of thinking about it, and I start bawling like a baby. I had to stop reading for a little bit, and I'm just crying. I don't know if I needed the catharsis or something, but I thought, man, what kind of day am I having here? But the other graphic novels have made me do some thinking as well. And I just wasn't expecting this sort of thing from graphic novels. Yes, I've had novels that made me think and novels that made me cry. I've had movies that have really moved me and music that I listen to. So I'm just astounded at what this can do. And I know, I'm hooked. I'm completely hooked. I'm going to keep going and read more, and I'm really looking forward to it. All right. Now, I will say, there were a couple of lighthearted moments in the story that I really appreciated. I do like comic relief, but you know what? It's not necessary. So I don't think I would enjoy it very much if it was forced. But if it can happen naturally, well, that's fabulous. And there were points in this story where it did happen naturally, and it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed when Barry was learning how to control this speed. And of course, he didn't know how to stop. I mean, who would? He had to learn how to do that. Actually, his future self teaches him how to slide into stopping. But you see him tripping all over the place. And then you see his closet, which is piled high with shoes, because he is essentially setting all of these shoes on fire through the friction. And, it made me think about water skiing. Not going to get into that. But anyway, that was a lot of fun, watching him get more used to his power. But the part I really liked was, apparently, he's always late, which is hilarious because he's got speed, right? But still, he somehow manages to be late. And he's late with a lot of the meeting up with Iris West for dates. And so she's just had it with his lateness, and they were supposed to meet, but she decides, hey, I'm just going to go to his apartment and meet him there. And luckily, he looks out the window and sees her coming up. Well, then you see his apartment, and it looks like a bomb went off in there. It was a complete and total disaster. He estimates that he's got 15 seconds. And so he's speeding around. By the time she gets to the door, his house is picture perfect, pristine, and he is ready to go. And I thought, why can't I have this power? I need speed. I would love to be able to clean my house top to bottom in 15 seconds. Heck, I'd take 30 minutes, But it was nice to get a little chuckle out of all of these things. All right. So now let's talk about the turtle, because I'm going to tell you, out of everything I've read so far, he is the most evil villain I've run into, bar none, hands down, the absolute worst. And what puts him, or what separates him from the rest and puts him in a very special category, is that he commits familicide. Completely, totally unforgivable. And now, with familicide, usually you get rid of all of your family members and then you get rid of yourself. He didn't get rid of himself, but he did get rid of his wife and his children, all because they were just in his way. Now, he's got an interesting backstory. He starts out as a brilliant kid, and he graduates early from school. He becomes a scientist, and he's working with this energy. And one of his experiments gets completely out of his control. There's a huge explosion, and this energy has actually drained him of all of his. In fact, he has slowed down to a crawl, thus the turtle. But how does his family respond to this? Well, they rally. They take tremendously great care of him. And they love him. This is the family that you want if, God forbid, you get Alzheimer's or some kind of dementia. These are the people who are going to care for you. They're not going to put you in a home. And that's what they do. They do everything for him, and he knows it. He recognizes how lucky he is and how wonderful they are. But the thing is, he's become obsessed. He wants to get back in and work with that energy and see what happened. And he just feels like they'll never understand. And so he drains all of them of their life force. It actually speeds him up for just a little bit. But you know, I have to tell you, I was shocked. I did not see that coming. I was stunned. And I will tell you, oh my gosh, it doesn't matter to me. I had not 1 ounce of sympathy for him. Whatever came his way, he richly deserves. So that's just my take on him. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap up. But you know, I got to rank. I got to rank what I've read. It's getting hard, because I'm enjoying all of these, and I think sometimes my rankings just might switch up a little bit. I think it just depends on what day of the week it is and which one I would reread at that moment. But, all right, I got my top 5. So coming in 5th place is The Flash, Year 1, shockingly, because it made me cry. But I loved it a lot, but it's got the 5th spot. Coming in at number 4 is Superman, the Man of Steel. In 3rd place is Superman, Speeding Bullets. In 2nd place is Green Lantern, Secret Origin. And still hanging on to 1st place, which it probably will forever, is Batman, the Killing Joke. All right, I'm out of here. But please stay tuned. I'll be right back.